yoga, yay for yoga. So I'd love for you to take a moment as we start today and consider the last time you felt really inspired, something that inspired you. Remember the feeling of it. There's generally like a lightness and feeling uplifted and energized. And for me, I felt really inspired recently. I heard an NPR story about a man named Robert Finley, who, as a child, he was a poor child and he was given money to buy shoes. And he bought himself a guitar instead at age 10. And his parents, of course, were livid, but he taught himself guitar and for a long time was trying to become a musician. And it just wasn't working. It just didn't work out for him. And there came a point where he's like, I have to work. So he went into work and he worked for years and years and years. And as he was approaching his 60s, he started to lose his eyesight. And he was in construction. He couldn't do construction anymore. So he said, well, the only other thing I know how to do is play guitar. He'd always kept it going. And so he starts playing and playing, and then ended up being kind of discovered at a music festival and is now creating albums with like people from the I don't know, professional musicians, we'll say that. Like he's got like real albums and professional musicians, like really high up people. And I just think it was just such an inspiring story to hear. And what he was singing about was like, never let go of your dreams, like keep following your dreams. You never know when they're going to come true, even 50, 60 years later. So cool. So what I was thinking about with this is that idea of inspiration, that inspiration can point us in a particular direction where we have all of these possibilities when we're open, right? But when we're inspired, it'll say, oh yeah, go this way. Of any of them, go that way, go this way, which is really useful when you're maybe overwhelmed with possibilities. It also fills you with energy and it makes you feel really light and hopeful, free and excited, dynamic. And without it, we're back to that kind of rote feeling, like I'm just going through the motions and things can feel boring or lifeless. And we have that a lot. So it's useful to have inspiration going on. In an inspired yoga practice, that's where your mind is really engaged with it. You're not wandering off other places with your mind. You're also not fighting yourself so much. You're not in resistance, and that makes the practice a lot easier. Your attention is riveted. And so without that distraction, it's actually easier, and it might give you more determination and more energy in your practice. So there's all of that, right? But then also, if you think of the word inspiration, it has another meaning. It means to breathe. So inspiration, to breathe in. Inspiration, that quality is as close as your breath, right? To take a breath is to inspire. And it is literally the very first thing we do when we are born. And it's like, oh yes, welcome to life. Be inspired. Inspire yourself. Unfortunately, in our culture, many of us have restricted breathing patterns. I mean, pretty much all of us, because of the way we live in stress all the time. And that can affect us and keep us breathing in a really shallow way. And so our interplay with air is not as much as it could be. But when we come to yoga, we can unwind some of those patterns. When we open the body, we unwind the body, those patterns start to release and we can increase inspiration. Literally, we can breathe better. And also in kind of the grander way of when we breathe better, when we breathe more deeply, we have more energy. It's easier to feel inspired for life, for whatever we're doing. So we can start to see the breath, the air, this inspiration as a gift that frees us, that fills us, that creates a lot of space inside and something to celebrate. And then when we have more inspiration, it inspires others too. So we'll take that into our hearts this morning as we come onto the mat for practice. See if we can inspire each other through our own practices and all we bring. So start with a seat that's going to support you. You're going to sit up tall. Turn your inner thighs towards the mat. And And then close your eyes and turn inwards for a moment. When you breathe, breathe in and down all the way to your sitting bones. Lengthen through the sides of your ribs. Take the heads of your arm bones back, and then bring your head directly over your heart. And that creates the alignment of head and heart where your breath can move more freely. It's not getting stuck in your throat. And then let your breath move. Make it easy. So you may notice that you're kind of clenched or holding breath. And that's what I'm talking about. We have these habitual patterns of holding the breath. And see if you can just soften in any way. Maybe it's just softening your mind around it a little bit. Bringing your attention more deeply inwards to your heart now. Form your intention. And think of your intention as that thing which will inspire you as you get into your practice. It's like, oh, right, I remember I wanted to be, more compassionate towards myself. Let me be inspired to be compassionate in this challenging pose. With your intention in your heart, join your palms together, and we'll chant a single Om, and then follow that with the Shiva invocation. Welcome your in breath. Om. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchidananda Martaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase. Gently bow your head in towards your heart in gratitude for the inspiration of air. And release your hands back down onto your thighs. Lift your head slowly up and come to standing on your mat. I'm going to step out for 1 sec, take care of what's going on in my background. And we're going to start with sun breath. So you can come to standing on your mat and bring your hands alongside your body. I'll be here 1 sec. All right. Oh, okay. The joys of home yoga. Stand with your feet parallel, hip distance apart. And yeah, go ahead. If you're not already moving into sun breath, you can do that already. Let me just adjust my camera a little bit. My apologies. Inhale and open. Exhale, let your skin get softer. So the breath helps you to open up, right? To become more inspired, become more free on the inside. Good. Next time you go up and pause. Take hold of your left wrist with your right hand and arc yourself a little bit over towards the right. And we're opening space for the inspiration, for the breath on the left side of the body. So send breath, send awareness. And again, you may encounter those holding patterns. It's not really a problem, but we're just becoming more aware of it. So we can shift if we want to. Then come back into the middle and switch sides. You may notice I'm kind of bumping into my ceiling here, but you can stretch your arms all the way out if you have the space. Let the shoulders relax away from the ears and breathe into the right side body. So we're unwinding layers of tension between the ribs so that you can unfold, so that you can feel more breath. Good. Come back to the middle. Take your arms back behind you and interlace both fingers. Interlace both hands. Lift the heads of your arm bones. Take them back. Good. Yeah, of course you can use the strap. And then just notice if your head has popped forward. That's what it'll tend to do. So bring the head back over the heart. Press the heads of the arm bones back. And keeping this, take your feet just, yeah, okay, you guys are good. Bend your knees and bow forward into standing forward bend. You can keep the knees bent at first and let the arms cascade over. And now release your hands down onto the mat and slowly stretch your legs straighter, coming into standing forward bend in this regular position. Inhale and reach your heart forward halfway. Exhale and fold over. Keeping the legs strong. Again, inhale, reach the heart forward halfway, and exhale, fold. And go one more time, just like that. Inhale, reach the heart forward halfway, and exhale, fold. Now, keep the legs strong. Take your arms out to the sides and right all the way back up into the air. Good. And then bring your palms together in front of your heart center. Once again, let's interlace the fingers this time. Take your arms forward and then reach the arms up overhead. Big deep breath in. Soften. Then release your hands. Take hold of the left wrist and arc again over towards the right. With inspiration, let the whole left side lung expand. And remember that your lungs go all the way into the back of your body as well. They're not just in the front, they're in the back. You want it to expand all sides. And then come back in the middle and switch. Clasp the other hand, arc over. Good. So again, breathing 360 degrees around this right lung, both lungs, but really the right side, particularly the back. That part tends to be forgotten. Back up in the middle, inhale, and then sweep the arms back behind your back, interlace your fingers. Take the heads of your arm bones up and back, and bring your head more in line over your heart, so your ears are in line with your shoulders. And just by lining up the head, we make the pathway for the breath a little more free. So the air enters and exits. And now you can bend your knees a little as you bow forward. Take your arms up and over for a moment. So we're just stretching the shoulders, front of the chest. And at the same time, can you breathe into the back of the rib cage? Then release your fingertips and stretch both legs straight. Inhale and reach your heart halfway forward. Exhale and fold over strong, steady legs. Again, inhale, heart halfway forward. Exhale and fold. Feel the breath moving your body. Inhale with inspiration, reach the heart halfway forward. This time, step your right leg back and come into a lunge on your fingertips. Why did I do the right leg first? I don't know, just to mess us all up. So right leg is back, left leg is forward, changing it up. Take a deep breath. Let yourself expand in all directions and then lengthen through your skull, lengthen through your back heel, really get long. Lower your back knee down, put your left hand on your left thigh and twist towards the left. Yeah, so when you twist, think of the lungs being like pillows that fill up and become very supportive. Wrap the right lung underneath and the left lung over top. Yeah. Then you take your arm up and reach out. If you're inspired, you can lift the back knee or keep it down. Your choice. Pick the one that works for your body right now. And with a deep breath, extend a little bit further. Good. Exhale, bring your hand back down. Step back to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let me clue in or sort of create a pattern of always taking a full breath when you get to downward facing dog. It's a really nice way to reset. You probably already do it. And then gently shift your weight around. So reach one heel for the mat, hold it for a breath or two, and then switch to the other heel. Just finding ways to send more space or create more space through the body. And our calves in particular don't get as much attention in the yoga practice. So we take the time in the beginning to help them open. When the body feels more open, the breath can move more freely. When the breath moves more freely, we just feel more energized, more inspired towards life. So now look forward between your hands and step your right foot all the way up forward into lunge. Come up on fingertips. Receive your breath. Receive the lightness of air in your whole body. And then extend yourself. So the top of the head reaches away from the left heel. They reach in opposition. Bring your back knee down onto the mat. Take your right hand on your right thigh. Push down and twist to the right now. With your legs steady, wrap the left lung underneath. So the left lung is really puffed up and comes under. Take the right lung over, like pillows stacking up on top of each other. Then you can take the top arm up, lift the back knee, and expand even more. Now think of the air quality, this inspiration, as being something that helps you expand beyond your edge. Exhale. Bring your hand back down. Lift your back knee if it is still down and step forward into standing forward bend Uttanasana. Inhale, reach your heart halfway forward. Exhale, fold over. Sweep the arms to the sky, rise all the way up back vertical, and then exhale and bring your palms together in front of your heart. Good. So you may remember last week we did the air salutation. And we ended up sort of more in the middle of the mat for starters. So you may want to step back just a little bit. And if you needed a blanket last week, so your knees are going to end up landing on the floor, you can put a blanket out ahead of you. Useful if you need it. I do apologize that my light is not super effective. Let's see if I can make it any better. Anyway. Here we go. Air salutation. Stand up, bring your palms together in front of your heart. And you're going to start by bringing the big toes to touch the heels a little bit apart. Yeah. Come up on your tiptoes if you can. Good. Take a deep breath in on your tiptoes. And you're going to slowly lower your buns towards your heels. So you're really paying attention and feeling the air around you as you move through it. Whew. So buns towards the heels, maybe you got there. You can also do chair pose if this is not great for you. And then take the arms out wide so you have some space and slowly lower your knees to your mat. So you want to do this with as much control as you can. I don't have a super amount of control. Then inhale and lift up, feet come apart, and exhale either just a mini back bend, or you can go right away into camel pose. If that feels like too much for you, don't go to camel right away. Just stay in a mini back bend. Inhale, slowly reach back up, and exhale, hands to the mat. Step back to downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in downward facing dog and firm your arms, and then rise up on your tiptoes and take 3 hops just in place in downward facing dog. The idea is just get up in the air a little bit. And that can be fast or slow. And once you've landed and you're feeling the effect of gravity holding you now, look up towards your hands. You're going to only hop about halfway up the mat. So come up on tiptoes, bend your knees, and hop about halfway up the mat. Inhale, reach your heart halfway forward. And exhale, fold. Sweep the arms wide, come all the way back up to standing. And exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart. That's our air salutation. So step the feet a little closer together again. Big toes touch, heels are slightly apart. Inhale and come up onto tiptoes. And exhale, slide down so the heels and the buns come together. The buns come to the heels. Slowly reaching down. Point the knees straight ahead as best you can. Good. Arms out wide. Slowly lower your knees to the mat. And we're trying to get it really controlled with this. It's hard. You can lean back to help support that. Yeah, good. Then inhale up and exhale to back bend. And that can be cobra or that can be baby or back bend, like a air cobra. Excuse me. This is camel. Inhale, reach back up. And exhale, touch the mat, step back, downward facing dog. You can jump if that's available to you. Once you've gotten there, try again those 3 hops. They don't have to be high. They can be small. And I like to bend the knees, hop, bend the knees, straighten, bend the knees, hop, bend the knees, straighten, And once you've done 3, look forward and hop again to the middle of the mat or step if you need to. Inhale, heart goes forward halfway. Exhale, fold over. Take your arms wide and float. Rise up into the air and join your palms together. Exhale in front of your heart. Do one more air salutation. Bring the big toes to touch. Take the heels slightly wide, not very wide, just a little bit. And then rise up on the tiptoes. Go super slow. I've been finding that just having the hands a little bit away from the chest gives just enough counterbalance for this to work. All right, arms out wide like a cactus. Slowly settle. Sorry, you guys were going slower than me. Slowly settle the knees towards the mat. You can lean back as counterbalance, just don't fall backwards. Then inhale, reach up. Mini back bend. It's either air cobra or all the way back to camel. Inhale, heart lifts. Lift yourself back up. Hands to the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. And then 3 little hops. So bending the knees, hop up once. Take your time. Playing with just getting into the air, feeling the air all around your body. Look forward now to the top of the mat and step or a hop all the way forward to standing forward bend. Excellent. Inhale and extend your heart forward. Exhale, bow over. Sweep the arms wide and again, come all the way up. Join your palms in front of your heart. Feel your heart beating, right? A little more inspired, a little more energy. Feel your breath, how it's risen up to help support you. Now you can bring your hands to your hips for a moment. Bend your knees. Take your left thigh up over your right. Eagle pose. So it can be just your thigh. You can have your toe on the mat if you need to. You may be able to wrap your foot all the way around. And then the choice is either wrap the right arm above the left and hold the shoulders, or flip your hands up and come into eagle arms. Let your vision be like eagle vision. Look straight through the hands, but soft. And feel your breath. Squeeze the legs together, root the legs down, lift up tall. So consider, birds have hollow bones. So they're very light. That's how they stay in the air. So you want to be light with this, not overworking. Now, unfurl the legs, unfurl the arms, step your left leg back and come up into crescent. Yeah. Can we keep that same kind of light quality in the body by expanding the breath that we had in eagle, even if eagle didn't feel super light, but that inspiration of birds, right? The lightness of birds. So from your pelvis, push down through the legs and also lift up all the way up through the ribs, through the arms, to the fingertips. Exhale, reach down and touch your mat. Now you can go through a regular vinyasa if you'd like to, or just go straight back to downward facing dog. Or you can do an air vinyasa. You could put your knees down and do a kneeling back bend if you prefer. What inspires you? That's part of what I love about the yoga practice is like you can really follow your own inspiration. Nobody gets to tell you what to do. Certainly you come to class and I offer you my inspiration, but you can take it and run with it. Look forward between your hands and step or hop yourself forward to standing forward bend. Inhale and reach your heart out. Exhale and fold over. Sweep the arms wide, come all the way back up to standing and join the palms in front of your heart to go to the other side. So you can bring your hands to your hips, bend your knees. Take your right thigh over your left and maybe wrap the toes if possible, or just put the toes on the mat if you need to even. Now do your best, everybody, to turn your hips so if they really are pointing straight forward. Then it's the left arm over the right, either holding the shoulders or wrapping up into eagle arms. You can get really heavy about this and get it all wrapped up in the heaviness, or you can get light. Be inspired. So when you breathe, breathe back into your kidneys. hug the legs towards each other. Root the left leg down, but lift up through the rest of the body. Now unwrap and go to crescent. You're trying to just do that in one kind of smooth motion. Step yourself way back, crescent lunge. Excellent. Good. Scissor both hips towards the front. Firm the legs and hug them towards the middle, back thigh high. Scoop the front seat under. And from your pelvis, root, but rise up. Rise up with this kind of light quality, as if your bones were hollow. Gives you more freedom to lift towards the air. Good. Exhale, reach down. Step back, plank again, and move through a vinyasa, or skip it and go to down dog, or even rest in child's pose if you need to. Feel the caress of air on your skin. And I can't remember, I think I said this last week, but it's just such a gift that we don't have to go out looking for air. It's all around us. What a gift. Step your right foot forward between your hands. You may want your block close by. Bring your left heel down. Take your right forearm to your right thigh and your left hand to your hip. Open up Parshvakonasana, side angle pose. Excellent. Take a deep breath. So, this is a pose we do almost every class. It can become very rote. So we bring inspiration to it by really feeling how it feels right now, right? Just notice where you are in your body. Squeeze the leg muscles. Thighs go back, tail in. And as you're ready, unfold the top arm. But be attentive to how it is today. Yeah. And then bring your intention to your pose. How does that change how your pose is? Everybody take your bottom shoulder back. Yeah. And then wrap your right lung under, your left lung over. Skull back. Reach out with lightness. Beautiful. Good. Bring your top hand to your hip. Take your right hand to the ground or to your block, and then stretch your right leg straight to the ground on the outside. So we're coming to triangle pose, Trikonasana. Yes, excellent. Again, squeeze the leg muscles firmly around the bones. Make them steady. Thighs are back, tail in. And then again, play with, as you lengthen the sides, both sides of your rib cage, play again with right lung under, left lung over, and then unfurl the top arm if you haven't already. And you'll find that wrapping quality of the lungs does a couple of things. First, it unfolds tension patterns in the lungs, right? Or around the lungs and the rib cage. Take your skull back, everybody. Head in line with the heart. It also gives you a lot more space and freedom to turn, to reach up to the sky. So with inspiration, reach out in all directions. Excellent. Lower your hand back down. Bend your front knee. Go back to a vinyasa if you'd like to take a vinyasa, or go to downward facing dog, or go to child's pose. Follow your breath. Follow your inspiration. Let that be what guides your practice. So you do that by checking in with how your body is doing right now and following. Good. Let's step the left leg forward between the hands. Bring your back heel down. Bring your left forearm to your left thigh, your right hand to your hip for Parshvakonasana on the second side. Excellent. Take a deep breath in. Feel the caress of the air around your skin, so you really feel the air temperature, and that can help you be more present, which means you're not being as rote, right? With the leg muscles firm, squeeze them towards the middle. Inner thighs back. Draw your tail under, lift your low belly, and then wrap. Left lung wraps around towards the front. Take the right lung, wrap it back, and then take your top arm up and over. When we feel into the nuances of the pose, when we feel into what is actually here, right now, today, it starts to give us, more interest, more aliveness in the practice. We're not just doing it from habit. Take your bottom shoulder back, everybody. Good. Top hand to your hip. Bring your left hand down to the mat and squeeze the leg muscles to straighten the left leg for Trikonasana, triangle pose. Make the legs super firm. Squeeze them towards each other. And as the thighs stay back, wrap the front hip under. Now think of the rib cage getting super long. Yeah? Good. Left lung under, right lung over. Take the top arm up. You unfurl into what's possible in a very particular way, right? Like only the arm going straight up. The way inspiration directs you in a particular direction. Not every direction, this direction, it says. Good. Exhale. Bring your hand back down to the mat. Bend your front knee. And again, you can go through a vinyasa if that's part of your practice right now, or you can step back to downward facing dog if that seems like a better option. Certainly do that. And just breathe. Again, come into relationship with this gift that we have of our breath. Breath is always here, invisibly supporting us. We are always wrapped in invisible support. That is a gift. All right, taking your right leg high, feel the air all around your right leg. Make the muscles firm to the bones on the right leg, the left leg, the right arm, the left arm. But the air hugs them too. And then draw your knee towards your nose and step forward, come into lunge. Scissor your hips towards the front, bring a block or both blocks close by so that you can grab them in a second. We got a couple poses coming together. Now, bring your back knee down if you haven't. Hands to your front thigh and lift up. With the legs squeezing in, take the top of the back thigh back. Draw your tail down, lift your belly, and as you're ready, sweep both arms up to come into Anjaneyasana. So we're looking for this quality of, yeah, the legs are rooted, but then lifting and rising upwards, upwards to the heart, upwards through the body. Yeah. You can lunge a little deeper into the front leg and maybe lift your front hip point off the right hip, off the right thigh, and lift up into mini back bend again. A little space to curl up, out into the air, falling back into air. Good. Come back up in the center now, and then bring your hands down. Walk your left knee back just a little bit and straighten your right leg. So coming to runner lunge. So this is where having blocks handy can be a really good thing. Welcome to come up on your blocks if you need to support your body. Full breath in and out. Excellent. Spread out the toes. So let the air get between your toes if you can. And then extend your spine. Shift your ribs slightly to the right. So you're turning slightly over the right leg, then bow. The hard part is to resist shifting your hips to the left to do that. So the hips stay steady. And you bow. Most likely you're encountering some sensation in your right hamstring, and that's totally fine. You just want to, send your breath to it because the breath has this intelligence. It can help it to open. That's like an inspired practice versus a expired practice or a resistance kind of practice. When you're resisting, the air can't get in there and it just gets stuck. We don't want to feel stuck. Inhale, lift back up. Bend your right knee. Let's actually bring it all the way back beside your left. And then you're just going to turn sideways on your mat towards the long edge of your mat. Take your right foot out to the right. So now my right foot is turned like I would be in a standing pose. Good. Inhale and come up to your hands on your hips. Yeah, good. You can turn your right toes back up towards the sky, heel down, and then take your right arm out, and left arm of your hip, and you're going to come down and bring your hand either onto your block or onto the floor for gate pose. Yeah. Good. So make the right leg really firm so you're not just collapsing into the knee of the right leg. And as you can feel, we're sort of getting on the inner leg now. Spin your ribs towards the sky more, scoop your tail under, and then take your left arm up alongside your ear. And we're going the long side body opening like we had in the very beginning. This is a little more challenging now because you're going to try and keep your balance. You're in gate pose. One day your hand might reach your foot. That's sort of where the extreme people take it, but that's not necessary. Just an option. From your pelvis, stretch your bones longer. Good. And then exhale, just bring your left hand down alongside your right foot. Turn back towards runner lunge. And that may mean moving your back knee. Yep. Turn your hips back around towards the front. And then bend your right leg. And let's step back to downward facing dog. So it's kind of a funky transition. I get it, but I think we'll end up in the right spot. Excellent. Take a deep breath in, downward facing dog. Find yourself in the center again. And then switch sides. Take your left leg high, three-leg dog. Firm the muscles around the bones of the legs, the arms, but then feel the softness of the air caressing the skin, holding you. And step forward into lunge. Line up your hips. Bring your back knee down. You can fold the mat if you need to, and hands to your front thigh just for a moment to set yourself up. Now, squeezing your legs to the center is going to hold you steady. Scoop your tail under and lift up. Arms rise. From your pelvis, push down into the floor and descend into the lunge a little bit, but resist the urge to let everything else collapse, right? So you rise up and maybe curl open a little bit if it's available. Yeah. Connect again with your breath. Reach down to lift up. Anjaneyasana. And then exhaling, reach both hands down to the mat. Walk your right knee back just a little bit. Stretch your left leg straight for runner lunge. Yeah. So you can be on your blocks again, totally useful. Spread your toes out and let the air get between the toes. It's amazing. Air is everywhere. Like it's everywhere. Squeeze the leg muscles firm, and then a little shift of the rib cage over towards the left leg without shifting the hips to the right, right? And bow over. Your bow might not be very far. That's all right. You know, you're really honoring yourself where you are. And again, let the inspiration of your intention tell you how to meet this pose. Keep pulling up through the leg muscles and stretching out through the bones. Inhale, lengthen your spine, come up, bring your left knee back with your right knee, and then turn again towards the long edge of the mat. Now your left leg's going to go out towards the left. So once you've turned to the long edge, take your left leg out to the left. And remember, it doesn't need to be exactly in line with your hip. It can be a little bit forward of your hip. And then hands to your hips and come up. So you're kneeling with the left leg out to the left. Turn your left toes to the sky. Right hand on your hip, left arm out. It's like a kneeling triangle, really. Reach out and over, and then bring your hand onto the block or onto the floor for gate pose, Parigasana. Yeah, I know. I apologize that I'm in kind of shadow today, but I think you're getting it. Squeeze the leg muscles firm and steady. Yeah. Roll the left thigh out so the left knee points up. Scoop your tail under. And then as you're ready, right arm alongside your ear. So this whole right side of the body gets a tremendous space breathed into it, opening. So see where you can send your breath that maybe that's been blocked earlier. Excellent. Good, one more breath. Reach out a little further if it's available. Keep your tail scooped under. And then bring your hands back down to the mat. You can turn towards runner lunge. And then again, step back to downward facing dog. Now in downward facing dog, again, receive the breath and just feel what's been going on in the body, how these openings actually create more room for the breath. And that's what we're aiming for in our practice. Now stay sweet and steady. Keep the lungs really open, but shift onto your right hand and the outer edge of your right foot to come to Vashisthasana side plank. Inflate the lungs. Left lung over top the right lung. Shoulders back. Everybody take your skull, the entire skull back. Yeah, that looks great. Exhale, left hand down. Go back downward facing dog and then switch. Come on the outer edge of the left foot and onto the left hand. Take the right arm up, shoulders back, skull back. Wrap the lungs around each other. So the left lung wraps under, the right lung wraps over, and out you go. Good. Exhale, hand back down, step back, downward facing dog. Look forward towards the top of the mat. Bend your knees and step or hop forward. Standing forward bend, Uttanasana. Inhale, reach your heart forward halfway. Exhale and fold over. Sweep your arms wide and come all the way back up. And then join your palms at your heart. Good. So turn, just stand well, and we'll take a standing balance. You might want your strap because we're going to hold the foot. So if that's you, go for it. My apologies. I'm just really okay. So standing onto your left foot, bring your right foot up, and we're going to take it forward first. So you can either hold your knee or hold your foot. Yep. And as you're ready, the right leg slowly stretches out, or again, use your strap. A lot of times the body, like I said, in the ego pose can feel super heavy in balances. Today, imagine that all of your bones are made of, like, filled with air, that they're hollow. See if that doesn't give you a greater sense of lightness. Yeah. Keeping the left leg strong, slowly open the right leg out to the right. And if your knee's not straight, that's fine, but still push your foot and your hand into each other. Yeah, it changes the dynamic. If possible, take the other arm out and push out. Unless you're hitting a wall. Good. Slowly bring your leg back around to the front. Ooh, that was challenging. And set it back down. Nice work. Let's try the other leg. So standing on your right. Again, you want to make the whole right leg really, really firm on all sides. Then left leg comes up. Maybe you hold your knee. Maybe you fall over. Then either using the strap or hold your foot. Slowly take your left leg straight-ish. Feel yourself held by this ocean of air all around you and within you. Good. Creating some support for these light bones. And slowly, slowly bring your leg out to the side. Maybe take your right arm to the right and press out. Yeah. Nice, everybody. Nice work. Good. Slowly bring your leg back around and set it back down. Nice. Whew. Yeah, can wiggle a little bit. It's needed. Step again to the top if you're not there. And let's again reach for the sky. Exhale and fold. This time step back to plank pose, top of a push-up. And from plank, imagine your whole body is light. It's like filled with helium, especially the back. Bring your forearms down and come to forearm plank. We're going to hover here just for a moment. You can interlace the fingers in front or keep them apart, your choice. But again, think of the back body as like being filled up with helium. So the backs of the thighs are light, the buttocks are light, side ribs lift. Back of the heart can be soft, but still buoyant. And even the back of the head. So we have the tendency in this pose to let the head droop down, and we don't want to do that. Keep the head light. Now lower both knees and shift back to child's pose for a moment. Just letting that go. Let yourself come to a place of rest. You'll notice when you come to child's pose, there's a natural tendency to breathe more deeply. And that can illustrate to you that maybe you were holding your breath before. And that's what we don't want to build in. We want to build in these conscious, sweet, free breaths. As we expand our breath, our capacity to be energized and inspired expands as well. Okay, so let's try it one more time in forearm plank. We're going to add a little variation to it. So again, come forward, put your elbows down. Don't interlace your fingers this time. You can put them in like a prayer position if that works for you, but don't interlace them. And then as you're ready, walk your feet back, lift your knees up. And again, imagine that the whole back of the body is just light with helium. Now you'll notice like it does take work to be here. So keep breathing. Let the breath support you. So now take your right hand across towards the left side of the mat. It'll be on a little diagonal and then roll to side plank. Right foot, right elbow. Maybe stack your left leg on top, maybe not. Yeah, you can put your left hand on your hip or even take your left hand to the sky. Lift your hips. I know it's hard. Light as air. Doesn't feel like it, but see if you can. Good. Left hand back down. Turn back to forearm plank. We'll do the other side. So left elbow, left forearm across a little bit. Come on the outer edge of the left foot and come on up. Stack your hips. Lift the hips. And if possible, take the right arm to the sky. Shoulder security happening here. Core strength happening here, glute strength happening here, leg strength happening here. Good. Bring your hand back down, come back to forearm plank, and then bend your knees down and walk yourself back, child's pose. Whew. It's all right to be breathing deeply, right? Your breath is really intelligent. It knows, oh, she's working her muscles. She needs more oxygen to those muscles. Let me breathe more. That's good. What we don't want is holding the breath. Let the air move through your body and just clear out any residual things that are hanging on that you don't need so that you can be more energized, alive, inspired. Good. Come up again to, let's just go to hands and knees as the transition and step your right foot forward to come to pigeon. So walk the right foot towards the left, open, right knee down. Yeah. Again, take your time to get your alignment. You all know how to align with the right hip back a little, left hip forward. Squeeze the legs enough and see if you can hover the hands for a moment, light as a bird, light as a pigeon, right? Yeah, once you've done that, come forward. Bow onto forearms, down you go. Oof. So having already done that standing balance with the leg out ahead of you, your right hip could be a little tender from that. We did 2 standing balances. It takes a lot for your right glute to support you, your standing leg glute. So pigeon at this point could be really a nice soothing experience, even if it's a challenge. Feel the air as it enters your body, nice and cool. And as it exits, it's probably a little warmer. And you're in this exchange with the whole world around you. In every in-breath, in every out-breath. Good. Slowly walk your hands back towards your legs. Lift up. Let's go to 3-legged downward facing dog. So just sweep your leg up and back and move it around in the air in the space around you. Just letting some aliveness come back into that leg if it got kind of funky there. And then lower your right leg down and step your left leg forward between your hands. Then walk your left foot towards your right side and come into pigeon on the second side. do just take the moment, the time to be attentive to the form, right? So you really are in a shape that's supportive. You're not sitting off on the left hip or anything. So right hip slightly forward, left hip back and down. And then see if it's possible to bring the hands up. And as you can feel, it takes a lot in the legs and then some lightness in the heart and the chest, the arms. Yeah. Good. As you're ready, bring your hands down and come forward into pigeon on the second side. And again, like I said, the standing balances challenge this outer glute area. And so now pigeon after that can be really supportive, can feel good, but it, you may feel it in a different way, having done those standing balances first. Again, be attentive to the movement of your breath. Let the breath breathe you. And part of why we do that, and we want to pay attention to it, is that the breath contains the Shakti, the prana, just the life force. And so when we have a deep, full inspiration, we are filled with life. We are filled with Shakti. It's a way that we are in a dance with this life force that's always around us. Widen at the tops of the thighs. Keep the legs steady, walk the hands back. Step back again to three-leg dog. Left leg goes up and back. You can move it around in space a little bit. And then lower your left leg and come down to a seated position with the legs wide. So, and you might want your strap close by. So again, you can sit up on the blanket as you do for your seated poses. And of course, if it bothers your heels, you just turn sideways on your mat. So take the legs out wide for Upavishta Konasana. Wide angle pose. Turn your right inner thigh down towards the mat. And then your left. Widen at the tops of the sitting bones. And then point both kneecaps up and all 10 toes up. So you're really aligned in the legs. Then sitting up tall, again, it's easy to kind of get settled and have the space between the hip and the rib kind of collapse, the waistlines collapse. So breathe some length and height in between the ribs and hips. Then turn over the right leg. Take a deep breath and bow forward. So this might be a time to add a strap if you need to, or shift the lungs towards the right leg. So the right lung moves back a little bit. The left lung moves towards the right leg. And then maybe the left hand takes the hold of the foot or the ankle, or of course you can use this strap. Take a deep breath and also empty out a deep breath. So both are happening. And reach the legs away from the hips. So the heels extend. Side ribs long, so that even though you're folded over, there can still be lightness and freedom in the breath. Inhale, lift up, slowly come back up to seated. And then turn, lightness in the rib cage, right? So the ribs are up off the hips. Turn over the left leg. Notice if it's turned in any funny way, turn it straight. And then low back in and up, lift up, exhale, and come forward. Again, you shift your left lung off to the left, out of the way, like up to the sky. Right lung wraps around. And then hand to the foot or ankle, or again, use a strap. Keep scissoring your legs in And rolling your inner thighs towards the mat. And that's going to activate the inner leg and help it to stretch a little more clearly in this pose. But lightness. So the forward fold has this quality where it can be very heavy, sort of collapsed on itself. As you continue to breathe, again, you can imagine the back of the body being filled with helium. So there's this kind of lightness in the kidneys and the backs of the lungs, back of the head. Keeps you uplifted even on a challenging day or a cloudy day. Reach the legs down, inhale, lift the heart up, rise up. Turn right between both legs. And again, scissor the legs towards the middle and roll the inner thighs down. And let's just come forward. And it might be just a tiny bit. It might be all the way down to the forearms. It might have your chest on the floor. Wherever you are, let the breath sort of wrap in and through you. So really attentive to how you can release any pattern of holding your breath, tensing up because you're going into a challenging position. Just being attentive. From the core of your pelvis, also stretch your legs out to the side, like reach your hips, your heels way out away from the hips. Yes, good. Everybody see if you can soften your upper back a little. Yeah, nice lane. There you go. So the inner leg hopefully gets some stretch here. Deep breath in and then slowly walk your hands back towards your legs and come back up. You take your hands under your knees. If they will come back, bring the legs back in. All right. So you want your strap for this. We're going to come towards playing around with a little Vashisthasana action. We're going to use the strap for it because I think it's really fun this way. So we're going to start on the knees like we did for gate pose. Let me think about this. So if you want a blanket under your knee, you're welcome to have a blanket under your knee. My basement floor here is super duper hard. It's like cement. So I'm definitely putting a blanket under my knees because they will not be happy if I don't. So blanket goes under the knees. Strap is here. Let's do loop in the strap this time. So you can make kind of a really small loop in the strap. So, it goes through 2 of the buckles and then comes back through 1. And you want your strap just really only big enough for your foot to be in. It's really not a lot. Oh, mine's twisted. There we go. Okay. So, it's like this kind of strap. So it's got a long tail, but the loop is, my buckle is right near my foot. It can even be on my foot. And I'm going to switch feet so that you can see what I'm going to do. So let's have you watch for a second. I think we have time. I think we may have done this. It's been a little while though. So I've got the strap here for when I need it. I'm going to be on hands and knees. I'm going to go onto my right hand and right knee first. So just slightly step the right knee back and then turn the right foot out towards the right. And then it starts with this kind of like kneeling position here. So it's like side plank, but I'm, kneeling doing it. Now I'm going to take hold of the strap. You don't have to use the strap, but it's an option. And shift my hips back towards my heel as I kick this foot out forward. I hope you can see that. Then I'm going to scoop my tail under and I've got the strap and the leg can come up. And it's great because, I don't have to hold my foot. I can work wherever I am, right? So my leg can be way out here, still doing the pose, or it can be way up high. Yeah. So there we are. And then bring the leg back in front and set it back down. And I'm really glad that I just did pigeon pose because that's a lot of work again for this outer hip. Does that make sense? Any question about it? I know I'm kind of in shadow for you guys, but you look like you're good. All right, so let's try that. Let's put the strap on the right foot to start. So strap onto your right foot. Or if you want to do it with your hands, you can certainly take the strap away. You don't have to use the right foot. If your wrist is bugging you, you can do this as a forearm variation if it's too hard on the wrist. Okay, so now coming to hands and knees, You're going to spin your left foot a little bit off to the left and come onto your left foot, your left knee and your left hand. And then step your right foot straight out ahead of you towards the long edge of the mat or the short edge, depending on where you're facing. There you go. Good. So you can start with just getting like a side plank here with your right foot on the floor. I think we got that, shoulders back. So remember the lungs wrapping quality. Yeah, lungs wrapping. Now with your right hand on the strap, take your right foot straight forward. Yep, away from your hip. You can shift your hips back slightly and then scoop your tail like mad and take your right foot up in the air. There it is. And it might be pretty low. It might be pretty high. Doesn't matter. Scoop your tail under, wrap your lungs. See if you can look up towards your foot. Whew. That's it. Good. And then slowly bring the right leg back down to the mat. Oops, I did say bring it forward first, but we'll just bring it back down and come on back down. I think that made sense. Yeah? Very good. Let's switch sides. So now the strap goes on the left foot. Don't let the buckle squeeze your foot too tight. All right. Then you come onto your hands and knees. Take your right foot a little bit off to the right. Bring your weight onto your right hand and your right foot. And then you step your left foot out to the side as you turn your hips towards the long edge of the mat. Yeah, there we go. So it's like a side plank on your knee with your left foot just sort of pointing out. Good. Now, as you're ready, you can bend your left knee as you pick it up and then straighten the left leg straight out ahead of you. Your hips might shift back a little bit for that to happen. Good. Then just like we did in the standing pose, open the left leg out to the left. See if you can point your toes toward your face. So the whole leg turns out. That's it. Good, good, good. And you stretch out, side plank-ish. Yep, see about looking up towards the leg. Good, and then slowly, slowly bring it back down and set it back down. You can take the strap away. Ooh. Nice. Yeah, that was a lot more on my hips than I was expecting. That was nice. So I want to give you the option now. We're going to stick with the Vashisthasana for one more go around for each side. You can do exactly what you just did. You can do that with your knee up if you'd like, with or without the strap. The other option I'm going to give is just like a tree pose Vashisthasana. So, it's that kind of idea. Now the bottom knee is up, but this time, instead of worrying about the foot being all the way up in space, let's just play with being in the air, the top leg in like a Vrikshasana. So those are some options, okay? So you have one more Vashisthasana, and I'll talk you through. I'm going to do the tree pose variation because that's where I am. But if you're feeling like, yeah, I really want to be all stretchy with my leg, then go for it. All right. So let's come to either hands or knees or downward facing dog. If you're going on your knees for Vashisthasana, you do it from hands and knees. If you're going with your knee up, go from downward facing dog. And here we go. Go onto the right hand and the outer edge of the right foot or the right knee. Stack your hips, shoulders stack, and possibly now, keeping the bottom leg solid, take the left leg up into whichever variation you're going. Tree pose looks like good. Everybody take your skull back in space. Remember, the skull back is going to help you be more in line. Head and tail lined up. Good. Nice, everybody. Air all around you. And bring your hand back down. Step back, downward facing dog. And last side, last one. Stretching back to downward facing dog. Come forward to left hand, outer edge of the left foot. Stack the hips, stack the shoulders. And then if possible, take the right foot up for Vrikshasana variation, tree pose. Again, skull back. That's the hard part. Head in line with tail. And then you're more balanced, more in line. Whew, push down to spread out and up. Excellent. Bring your hand back down to the mat. Step back to downward facing dog. And then bend both knees. Exhale fully. Go back to child's pose. Feel your breath and the air surrounding your skin. Let every inspiration draw more energy, more Shakti into your body, more power. And let every expiration empty you of whatever is unnecessary, whatever feels dull, whatever feels finished, whatever is expired within you. So you leave feeling more refreshed and live. Beautiful. Okay, slowly walk your hands back, come back up to seated. And again, you can grab your blanket or your several blankets to sit on for our cooling postures. Take both legs out ahead of you. Of course, if you need extra clothing, now's a nice time to add that. And of course, strap close by for swift use if needed. All right, everybody looks good. Bend your left knee, bring your left leg back for Janu Shirshasana. Left knee wide, turn the hips a little bit. Turn the inner thigh down and sit up tall. Okay, so keep the lightness of air as you now bow forward with right arm towards the left foot. Sorry, left arm towards the right foot. I'm mirroring you, so it's a little backwards. Soften any tension around your throat. The upper throat, the lower throat. Around your jaw. Just in the center of your chest. See again if you can allow the breath to have the freedom to move exactly as it wants. And inhale and slowly lift back up out of Janu Shirshasana. Bring your left knee up, stretch it out. Bring your right leg back and wide. Right knee bent out to the right. Sit up tall. Turn the legs. With a breath in, become light over top, then twist and exhale, bow. This time it is the right hand towards the left foot in Janu Shirshasana. So firm the leg muscles around the bones. Roll both inner thighs towards the mat. Imagine you're like slightly sticking your butt out behind you, but then lift your low belly. We talked about that a few weeks ago. This coughing quality to strengthen the low belly. And that'll give you nice support underneath. Left lung lifts slightly, right lung descends slightly. And you bow. I love the idea of as we cool the body, we really pool Shakti within it. It doesn't just dissipate out. It finds places to settle, to take up residence where we can feel more enlivened by it later. Inhale, lengthen your spine and slowly come back up. And then bring your right leg out. Let's just take Ardha Matsyendrasana. So bending the knees, take the left leg under, left heel towards your outer right butt, right leg up and over. I know you can't see me very well, but there we go. Left arm out, big breath, and either wrap or hook your elbow. Take your right fingertips behind, sit up tall and twist. It's a good place for your ribs and hips to kind of collapse into each other. So keeping the hips grounded, lift the rib cage off. And as you do, you lengthen the space where the lungs can be. You literally make more room for inspiration physically. Turn your head to look over your right shoulder. With your next inhale, come back around to the front and switch the cross of the legs. Take the the right heel towards your outer left butt. Take your right foot up and over. Left foot. Take your right arm wide and either wrap or hook. Sitting up tall, fingertips behind, twist. And look over the shoulder, the left shoulder this time. Again, as the hips are really settled down, you'll find it easier to lift the ribs up off. Yeah, nice. Everybody looks really nice. Hug your left shoulder blade towards your spine more. Your right shoulder blade can actually widen a little bit. And you'll notice that gives you a little more twist without straining in the lower body. Beautiful. Inhale and softly untwist. Come back around to the front. Let's come down onto your back. Have your strap close. Skip the outer hip a little bit more so that it feels good later. If you have a loop still in your strap, just take a moment to take that out. You don't need it anymore. And then take your right leg up into the strap. You can keep the left leg bent. Come onto your back, take the right leg up. Yeah, good. Again, let the air get between your toes. And you all know that that helps to activate all of the leg muscles all the way down the entire leg. So we get, equal distribution of Shakti through your leg. With your hips heavy, take your left leg out and place it along the floor and breathe. Now take the strap just in your left hand, and we're just going to go those few inches to the left. So again, this can get towards that outer hip area that may have gotten a little more attentive, a little more challenged today. So just a couple of inches towards the left. Use your right thumb to hook your right outer hip towards the short edge of the mat where your left foot is. So away from your face towards the short edge of the mat. That feels like too much, let it go. But if you can, as you keep the hip there, maybe bring your foot a little closer to your face. That changes the sensation a lot. So see what's happening when you're with your breath when you do that. Two more conscious breaths. Good. Gently bring your leg back up in the center and release your right leg down. Set it beside your left and just pause for a moment to feel. Notice the two sides of your body. Notice which one has more Shakti flowing, more energy. Which one feels lighter. And then bend your knees and let's take the other side. Take your left leg up into the strap. Stretch it up. Settle the top of the left femur bone all the way down into the hip socket and then reach out through the leg and spread your toes. Really press your heel towards the ceiling. Bring your toes back towards your face. And as you can feel that, it'll change where your stretch is and how it is in your body. It's fine. Stay there or stretch your right leg out along the mat. As your right leg stretches, reach the right thigh bone for the floor. So you're anchored even as you reach out into the air. We have this ocean of air all around us. And then we've got the gravity of earth that holds us down. Nice balance of the two. Now take the strap just in your right hand. Take the left leg a couple of inches to the right. Doesn't have to be far. You may get little tingles or places like trigger points that sort of tingle or pulse with this. That's okay. You're always watching your own body, that it's not in excruciating pain. Take your left hand to your left outer hip crease and guide your left hip towards the short edge of the mat where your right foot is, while possibly bring your left foot closer to your face. And again, notice the response of your breath. Don't let the inspiration be compromised. We want to stay inspired as best we can, knowing that there are seasons to it, letting it move. And then inhale, bring your legs slowly back up and release it from the strap. Let's finish with a twist. You can bring both legs in, hover the feet up off the mat, and then take both knees over to the right side and stack your hips. So make sure that your left hip comes all the way up over top of your right. Then lift the ribs away from the hips and twist the upper body back towards the left. You can open the left arm if there's space. Turn your head away from your knees. Let your eyes recede into their orbits. Feel the air around you. You're always in an interplay with this ocean of air through every breath. What a gift. Inhale, slowly bring both legs up into the middle, and exhale, take them in the opposite direction. Bring your right hip all the way over top of the left. Draw your ribs away from your hips with the low back curve, and then settle your right shoulder towards the floor and turn your gaze towards your right hand. You may want to soften your eyes so much that they close now. If the eyes are open, let your attention be very soft. Your gaze is easy, telling your nervous system that it's time to settle in and get ready to rest. Then inhale, slowly bring both legs back up into the middle. You can curl into a ball or take a happy baby pose, whatever feels good to you. I've been enjoying just holding my knees, letting my feet dangle. And as that feels complete for you, slowly stretch yourself out to come to Shavasana. We'll continue being attentive to air in your Shavasana today. So certainly first set your body up really well. The body feels very comfortable and easy. And for the first breath or two, really just invite your body to let go. The body softens and releases into the support of the floor beneath you. And as you keep your attention toward your body, let your breath move completely with freedom. So you become the receiver of the breath as it breathes you. Air enters, air exits. No force, no trying. And then become attentive to the places where the air touches your skin. And feel for the boundary of air and skin, and that boundary is not always clear. Let the boundary of your skin become even more permeable, as if the edges of you start to dissolve. Dissolve into very restful Shavasana now. Rest in the silence for the next several minutes. As your breath fills the body, bring your attention right back into your form, this one body that you get to reside in through your whole lifetime. And let it awaken. You can gently move fingers and toes. And then stretch however feels good. Go again with your breath in partnership. Softly, gently bend your knees. Roll yourself over to the right. And press your hands down into the floor. Slowly come back up to seated. And close your eyes. Turn back inside for just a moment. Now feel your breath. And it's so hard not to do anything, but really just receive it. Notice if there's more room for it. Notice how relaxing it is just to breathe. May your practice be a place that provides inspiration. Inspiration for life, and inspiration just in terms of helping you breathe more fully. so that you can be more relaxed and energized as you meet this world. May it also bring you in deep connection with the Shakti, the life force that resides within you and all things. Bring your palms together now in front of your heart. We'll chant a single Om together to close. Welcome your in breath. Namaste. All righty. Thank you all so much for practicing with me today.